Joe Rogan is moving his podcast to Spotify. What's the terms? Like, what's going on with that?
It's a huge deal. Obviously, he's the biggest podcast in the world, and Spotify is obviously a ginormous company with all kinds of stuff on it, all kinds of music content and podcasts. And they signed that other dude, right, just a little bit ago, Bill Simmons, a giant deal. I think it was hundreds of millions of dollars.
He's a sportscaster, right? He's a sports guy.
He had The Ringer, and I think they just bought Spotify. Maybe bought his whole company, The Ringer, and the podcast came with it, obviously.
Spotify bought Bill Simmons' company.
Yeah, and I think it was over $100 million, if not close to. But Joe Rogan's was over $100 million, and they have I don't know, it's really not like a huge difference, it seems like, to be honest. A lot of people, I bet, are freaking out, but it doesn't seem like a huge difference. Still free at the end of the day.
Yeah, but people are going to freak out regardless, right?
Yeah.
Things are changing. Things are going to be different. They're going to have to go somewhere else.
Different platform.
If they weren't on Spotify before listening to us. I don't think he was, right? He wasn't on Spotify at all.
When you look it up, he's not there. Yeah, exactly. So maybe Spotify was just itching to get him, or maybe there was like an attempt at the beginning and they just couldn't strike a deal, and then now they threw him a fat old check and he said... I mean, how could you say no, right?
Yeah,
like, how would you say no? Even how wealthy he already is. His podcast, I'm sure, did a lot to contribute to that. And why not? I mean, $100 million? How are you going to say no to that?
I wonder what the terms are, though. Like, how many years is it just for?
He just said multi-year, so more than a year.
Contract for $100 million. And it was starting September 1st. The podcast will be on Spotify, but
and the
including
other platforms,
everything.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's going to be on all of the platforms. But then after the year's over, so starting fresh next year, it's going to be exclusively on Spotify, but the full episodes. So full audio, full video is going to be on Spotify.
Yeah, exclusively. Just on there.
But then he's still going to make clips, like the little mini clips, 10, 15 minute, however many minutes it is. That's still going to be on YouTube. So that still will be good, but it's tough, dude. I mean, he's probably going to lose people. He's definitely going to lose like viewership. Like some people aren't going to, even though it's free, right? It's still,
it's a difference though. YouTube is definitely more like all over the place. YouTube is more well known. It's still going to be there. And I don't know if more people listen to his clips anyway. I don't know. He still gets millions of views on both. So it is going to be a difference.
And the full videos too.
But I mean, on Spotify, I don't know. Maybe he felt like I don't think he needed Spotify for his popularity to be. He's on top. That's what I think what you were saying.
His foundation is already strong.
Huge,
like it's already,
he's on top. He's the king. And that's why I think what you were saying is right, that his viewership is probably going to go down because he's already at the top. And like,
there's only one way down.
It's only one way to go when you're at the top.
So viewerships are going to go down. It's still going to be free though, he said.
Yeah, but I bet you like, I don't know. We have YouTube Premium, so we don't deal with ads, but I don't think there's ads on his episodes.
That's a good point. Yeah, I wonder how the ads are like. Spotify definitely has ads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you have to, I bet you have to pay to get rid of the ads like YouTube. But I don't know if initially like his YouTube videos, the 3-hour, 2-hour ones are ad free. I have no idea because we got premium.
Yeah, we got premium.
Fresh.
Yeah, so we don't know what the advertisements are on his podcast, but we'll see. I guess.
Don't think so. I don't think so because normally ads are on like family friendly content right now. It's not really on. I would say that ads who work with YouTube aren't running to Joe Rogan's podcast to get on there. You're definitely going to be seen, but
just because of his content, just because of what he talks about.
Kid friendly for sure. He's definitely not, but he still gets, it doesn't matter. Still gets millions of views.
Yeah. So deal's worth $100 million. However, for however long,
still a huge amount of money. Do you think it's like a basketball player? Like, let's say if it's 3 years, he's going to get like 33 million.
Yeah, probably.
You think in 1 year, like a basketball player? He probably
gets paid just like us, like, you know, bi-weekly, every 2 weeks gets paid. I don't really know for sure. I would assume that he doesn't get that money up front.
Stuff like that. Like, who knows?
Yeah, who really knows? But he did mention also that Spotify is going to have no creative control over that. over what he says. So it's still going to be the same show, same people, same things that he says. But, at the same time, Spotify still kind of, it's like a dark cloud over him.
They're above, they're now, he's on their platform like exclusively too. Like
he sold his soul to Spotify.
So I don't know, like, even though it's Joe Rogan and you like to think that he's a titan in the business and he's not gonna,
which he is,
he's not gonna
take a hit, though. He's not invincible. Yeah, he's a titan, but he's not invincible.
And I mean, I wouldn't doubt it though, dude. I wouldn't doubt it that he says something that he's already been attacked on Twitter multiple times. He's already had random tweet storms shot at him, but if that happens again, and because now they're going to yell at Spotify. Now they're going to yell at the company and be like, why do you have him on your platform?
Yeah, now they're going to, exactly. That's there? A good point. That is
why
a very good point.
You like, why do you hire him? Why do you affiliate with someone that's like they've already called him racist, transphobic, all that nonsense. They've already called him a bunch of times over and over again. But if that happens again and I'm bigger, then they're going to cry to Spotify, and Spotify is probably going to tell them to, I don't know, clean up, right? Like they have to. They're huge. They paid him $100 million. That's huge, dude.
And that's a very good point, because all the people that are upset at Joe Rogan and all the, the hate that he's getting, that's going to be directed to Spotify now. I'll be like, oh, you guys are supporting this guy, bring him down, or don't keep paying him. So we'll see how that works out.
The next thing you know, like a wave of just anti-Spotify, like not even all day, like on top of Joe Rogan, it's like there's this band that does this and that. You let them on there. You have a contract with them. There's this guy who said this and that, and it just piles on. And then there's articles of Spotify harboring hate people, like people filled with hate stuff. And then Spotify's like, crap. Okay, even though he's the king, dude.
I think that it's both a risk for both of them. I think it's a risk for Spotify and a risk for Joe Rogan, because you would think that Joe Rogan's viewership is going to go down.
But
like it's not going to improve going on Spotify, right? It's not going to go up. Probably, and then Spotify is going to get like Spotify's. I mean, they're a couple now. They're in a relationship. They're married, for however many years
intertwined.
It is. Yeah, they're together now. Like they're a pair. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, supposedly the content's going to be the same. I mean, it's not like we're going to stop listening to him. I mean,
he's huge. And he's the dude that started it all. He's the guy who did it, who set the footsteps or the guidelines.
The standard. Sure. He's the bar. Regardless of if you agree with what he says or with what he doesn't,
huge.
He's still the king. He's still going to make money regardless, whether if Spotify pays him or if somebody else pays him. He just has a foundation. He has a fan base. He's the best. He's the best podcaster by far.
I wouldn't doubt that he knew this going into it, that YouTube's more popular, that the other platforms do bring him a lot of views, and that just being on Spotify is most likely going to bring his view count down. But it's going to bring exactly. And all the sponsors he has, he's probably going to get rid of them, because why have a sponsor when Spotify is giving you millions per episode? It's probably, he looked at it. I'm sure he's not stupid.
Yeah, he made
I'm sure he understands. He's like, you know what? He probably weighed it, and he wouldn't take the deal if he didn't benefit more. If he didn't look at it as if he didn't look at it as better than his current situation,
then he wouldn't have taken it.
He wouldn't have, exactly then.
His viewership's going to go down, but his money's going to go up. So.
And at the end of the day, I mean, he's a comedian, he's UFC, he's this and that. I mean, he doesn't mind taking a decline in viewership from his podcast, I bet. And if Spotify is going to continue giving him the same amount of money with this multi-year deal, regardless of how many people watch, they're locked in, dude.
Yeah. So both of the companies, or both Spotify and Joe Rogan, think that it's going to be beneficial for both of them, or else they wouldn't have made the deal.
Yeah, obviously.
It's just going to be, kind of interesting, I guess, because the viewership, it can't stay the same, man. Just being exclusively on Spotify, it's not going to. Yeah,
YouTube's huge, stay the same.
Dude. So YouTube is the second highest search engine, right? Or the second,
or
it's number 2 behind Google. That's what I'm trying to say.
Isn't it kind of Google too? Isn't YouTube basically Google? But
I don't know if Google owns YouTube. Maybe. I don't really know. Maybe.
But I mean, Spotify. Do you even think Spotify is the biggest music platform out there?
No.
Like Apple Music?
It's definitely Apple. Yeah.
What
I would
else?
think Apple still Pandora.
No, Spotify.
I think
bigger than
Spotify.
Pandora.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Spotify does take Pandora at least now. I don't think if like we were having this conversation like a couple years ago. I think Pandora wins, but Spotify at this point
and Apple Music for sure. Probably the Google Music and some other, but
or like YouTube or whatever.
But yeah, that's a good point. I bet you YouTube Music is probably bigger than Spotify or close to.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good question. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's still months away. Like it's September 1st.
And anything can happen, right? Like
who knows? I mean, maybe he's going to promote it, and viewership's going to go up, and Spotify's going to be happy. You know, who really knows? But Joe Rogan's going to be happy regardless because he got $100 million. So, I mean, that works out. I mean, he's the best. So I can't complain. Can't tell him no.
Dude.
It's still going to be free. He's giving out good content. You know, it's interesting, very informative. He's the best. Like, he's the GOAT.
He's the best. Yeah, dude. Maybe not the ever was. There could obviously someone to come and topple the king and be bigger.
As of right now.
But he's definitely the greatest right now.
As of right now,
which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, as of right now. Who would have thought, right? That Fear Factor guy.
Dude, yeah, the Fear Factor guy. What else did he? Yeah, just the Fear Factor guy and his
That's what he's most known for, right? Is Fear Factor.
For us, at least, because we weren't old enough to watch him on this TV shows and stuff.
Yeah. So, he's the best, dude. He's the GOAT.